What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Deep Purple's live catalog. It's extensive. Today, I'm going to talk about California Jammin'. Let's just cut straight to the chase right here. There is a video of this. This is from the California Jam Rock Festival in Ontario, California in 1974. I wanted to go to this, but my mom said I was too young. I was 3 at the time. She said I couldn't do something like this alone. And in the list of sets, concerts, festivals, let's go sets that I wish I had attended in my life, the Deep Purple set from this festival, of which this is a document of, is easily on that list. And if you want to know why, go watch the video. It was broadcast on ABC, the Deep Purple set. The space trucking on this, the whole show is ridiculous. Richie Blackmore is on fire. Richie Blackmore, he was mad because he didn't want to go on when they went on. He wanted to go on after dark. They went on when the sun was still out. He was angry. Cameramen keep getting in his way, so he's mad at them. By the time we get to space trucking, Richie's got a lot of anger he needs to get rid of. And I think of Spinal Tap when I watch this. That scene when Nigel has my guitar solos, they're like what I'm known for. And he's playing it with his foot and he's rubbing one guitar on the other guitar and doing stuff like that. And I know Jimmy Page did stuff like that and probably other guitarists. But it seems like Spinal Tap and what's his name? Reiner, we're aware of this performance. Because the end of Space Truckin', Richie is he's making noise. He's like literally just doing this to his strings, takes off the guitar and rubs it on the edge of the stage. One point he drops one guitar into like the pit where the audience is and he goes and gets another one. He's throwing stuff into the pit. He brings out an amplifier and dumps it in the middle of the stage. At one point it catches on fire and part of the stage is on fire. It is the most ridiculously indulgent, over the top. While all this is happening, they're in the midst of a Mandrake Root psychedelic bass jam, and Pace and Hughes, because this is the Coverdale Hughes version of the band. Pace and Hughes are just going crazy in the rhythm section. At one point, Richie's got to go get another guitar because he's dropped one into the audience. He starts hitting the cameraman, the camera with his guitar, and bends the like thing that frames the lens. And from that point on, we don't get any more angles from that camera. It is just, one, it's exhilarating to watch. It's one of the greatest rock spectacles ever. 2, listening to it, the chaos conveys. The chaos works. It is an exhilarating last 10 minutes. In the moments when Richie has to go get another guitar or when it's just feedback, Lord steps up and has some awesome synth solos and is making cool noises. It is absolutely fantastic. And Richie's playing for the entire show, while not as crazy and manic and over the top and out of control as that. It's pretty on fire. This was a huge festival. Deep Purple were not the headliners. They were the second act. And I think Richie was not happy about that and wanted to prove something. Because other than Burn, when his guitar is a little too buried in the mix and you're just like, we need more Richie, he is absolutely on fire in this show. The lineup for this act, this is California, so one of these acts is just so completely random, but at the same time, so completely California. So the headliners were Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Deep Purple was next. Black Sabbath came before Deep Purple. The Eagles with Jackson Browne. Earth, Wind and Fire, Rare Earth, Black Oak, Arkansas, and then possibly the most California thing ever, Seals and Croft. But this is an amazing set. There's 2 releases of this out there. The original one does not contain Lay Down, Stay Down. The re-release from like 20 years later does. I highly recommend you find the re-release if you're interested in finding this, because the Lay Down, Stay Down is ridiculous. Richie Blackmore is on fire, absolutely killing it. 7 songs in here, typical set list for the Mark III version of the band. This is Coverdale, Hughes, Glover, Pace, and Blackmore. Opens up with a Burn. Hughes is singing his ass off during those bridges. Like, Hughes is having the time of his life. Coverdale sounds good throughout the entire show. Again, the only problem with the burn is Blackmore's guitar is buried. The sound is not that good. It definitely gets better as the set progresses, but it is definitely not one of the better sounding releases that's out there. This might be the ABC broadcast. I don't know if it's the source for this material, but it definitely has some, it's definitely not the cleanest sound, but it doesn't hamper my enjoyment of it. Burn opens, Might Just Take Your Life as the second song. Solid version of that, really nothing special. But once we get to Lay Down, Stay Down, it's just fire from here on out. And Blackmore is leading that charge. And everybody, Hughes is singing, Coverdale singing, Pace always on drums, Hughes is bass playing. Not as funky as Hughes would be in a couple years, but we still got some funky bass playing going on every once in a while. We get a nice little sort of funk jam that sneaks in. I think it's during Space Truckin', or it might be during the You Fool No One jam. We get a little bit of a funk energy going at one point, but not too much. We get as funky as this version of Deep Purple gets. Who did I miss? I think I covered everybody, right? Blackmore on guitar. The Lay Down, Stay Down is when things truly catch on fire. Then we get a Mistreated, just absolutely wonderful Mistreated. The guitar playing, Coverdale singing. This is a Coverdale song. It's an absolute classic. We get some nice opening, about a minute, just under a minute of Richie kind of messing around before we go into the song. Coverdale kills it on vocals. We get that nice sort of mellow breakdown in the middle where Richie can fool around before we go back into the song. Lord gets some really nice rhythm work in here, and you can hear his organ doing some rhythm support. That's really cool. And during that breakdown in the middle, Blackmore comes out of the song playing what sounds like the melody to another song, but I'm not sure what it is. He kind of quotes something for a very brief time, less than 10 seconds, and then we go back into the song proper, get a little pocket bluesy jam at the end while Coverdale's just going off vocally. Pretty cool. Nice 10-plus minute version of Mistreated. Smoke on the Water. Great solos by Blackmore. Great solo by Lord. I'm getting a little bit more used to not having Ian on the vocals. Hughes is definitely putting the effort in. Anytime Hughes gets a chance to just go off, he goes off. We get a little jam at the end where Hughes just goes off a cappella, just gets to be a rock star. Starts off with some low-key jazzy Richie Blackmore playing to kind of fool the audience. Oh, what is this? I've never heard of this before. Nah, yeah. I like the Smoke on the Water. It's not the encore song. I like that it's just kind of in the middle of the set. I wish that had been forever. Then we get a You Fool No One into the mule drum solo. Kind of a short drum solo, maybe because it was a festival set. It's 3.5 minutes long before we go back into the mule. The You Fool No One, really well jammed out. We get a full-on 3+ minutes of Lord soloing before we go into a false front on the song, but we get a Lord solo, we get a Lord jam solo, but we get 3 minutes of Lord-centric music. Then the drums kick in, we're going to go into the song, but then we fool around for about another minute, and then the drums kick in again, and we're in the song proper. And once Richie shows up for the song proper, he is aggressive, he is attacking, he is infusing this thing with epic amounts of energy worthy of a festival crowd. He is bringing it. Absolutely bringing it. His solo is ridiculous. We get a nice breakdown in the middle where Richie gets to fool around. Goes on a sort of shred fest. Then we get a nice we get some blues quoting by Richie. Things go super chill around the 9.5 minute mark. This entire You Fool No One, the mule is about 19 minutes long. Get a lot of messing around. So for about 5.5 minutes in the middle, we got some Richie-centric, just kind of soloing, some with the band, some with the blues flavor, a little bit of everything. Just really, really, really good stuff. Then we go into the drum solo, and then we finish out with a really high energy version of Snippet of the Mule. And then we get Space Truckin'. 25 minutes of Space Truckin'. Starts off with another organ-led jam, about 1.5 minutes of an organ-led jam. Then we get into the vocals. Vocals don't sound good. I'm missing Ian more so here than I did with Space Truckin'. We get some vocals. That eventually goes into the, we get a pretty nice long breakdown in Space Truckin'. This is probably the longest. We get the standard of this era, Space Truckin' the song. Then we go into that Mandrake Root psychedelic bass jam. This is the longest version of Space Truckin' the song I think we've had so far, where we really bring it down. We get some like vocal improv in there. We finally, around 8.5 minutes, go into the Mandrake Root psych bass, the bass driven jam. We get a Lord solo first for about 4 minutes. Then RB takes over and things get really, really, really quiet. And I think I hear like a Greensleeves quote from Richie, but it's like really, really, really calm and mellow. And then about after 2+ minutes of Richie fooling around, we get a full band returning with the bass driving. And there's about 10 minutes left in the song now. And this last 10 minutes, it's just like pedal to the metal, hold on, noises, things are destroyed, things are thrown in the audience. Everybody's just trying to prevent things from falling apart as Richie does the best possible, does what he can to literally burn the stage down. And maybe because I know what's happening visually, I enjoy this when I don't have the visuals. You can tell Richie's just like scraping his guitar strings on things and making noise. When he drops it in the audience, you get that feedback of like the chord being pulled out of it. Like you hear those elements. And if you know that it literally is just chaos breaking down on stage, and that Emerson, Lake and Palmer then gets to follow this, who knows how, I don't think I've seen an Emerson set from this. What did Emerson do to have to beat this? Was Emerson still? I don't know when Emerson reached his peak as far as stabbing keyboards on stage, but Richie Blackmore's bringing it. And it's fantastic. It's exhilarating. I think it's a fantastic listen. Richie is perfect. The band is perfect. Great early kickoff to this era of the band. Absolutely phenomenal. I love this listen. I wish the sound was better. I wish we could hear Richie better in Burn. But once Richie's sound gets fixed and he's in the mix, yeah, this is a winner, man. This is a winner. Eat some chicken dinner afterwards. Richie was a sinner. Tried to attack a camera. He did attack a camera. This is when Richie's sort of antics are used for good. And this is one show. If I could be at a set, this is one of those sets, man, to see like a legitimate fire on stage. I saw Acid Mother's Temple at the Austin Psych Fest. I think it was 2012, 2011. They had a riverfront stage. It's a tiny little stage on this river, tiny little river, creek. No, it's a river. And the lead guitar player for Acid Mother Temples lit his guitar on fire on there. And that was the first time I was like, I was really close, and my mind was expanding, and I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I literally, like, I moved back because I was like, I don't want to be this close if something goes wrong. And even watching this, I'm like, I'm not even sure I want to be this close to my TV when I'm watching this. I saw Acid Mother's Temple another time, and they played on a stage that had like these rafters going over them. The guy threw his guitar over the rafters and then caught it. And so he was pulling like the cord and it was hanging, and he kept hitting it with drumsticks and stuff. Fantastic. But anyways, I digress. I love this show, and I really, really encourage you, even if you're not a Deep Purple fan, it's on YouTube. California Jam 1974. The complete Deep Purple set is on there. Fast forward to like the last 10 minutes and just watch Richie go crazy. It's exhilarating. It's fantastic. Where would I rank this if I ranked it among the other ones? It's probably higher than it deserves to be. I have it at 5. I'm not sure. I can't hear Richie and Burn. I don't think the show really gets going until the third song, which is Lay Down, which isn't even on some of the releases. However, once it gets going, it is fire. It is Blackmore at its best. It's Pace at its best. It's Hughes shrieking at his best. Coverdale, Lord, yeah. I highly recommend this. Be prepared for some less than ideal sound, but also be prepared for Richie to just like knock your socks off, as only Blackmore can do. Yeah, I love this release. I'm hyped up just talking about it, because I want to convince somebody who hasn't seen the footage to go watch the footage, because it really is rock and roll at its most indulgently excessive. and chaotic and violent and unnecessary. And there's fire involved. Fire. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me your thoughts on all this. And yeah, peace. Talk to you later.